Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Seven, and it happens to be 7 p.m. right now. It's nice and quiet here in my movement studio, Sacred Body Center. I offer all different kinds of movement classes here: Pilates, dance, pre and postnatal, breast cancer rehab, all kinds of sports and fitness rehab, general training, and just a lot about form, movement, and how to get inside of your own body and understand how your body moves. So tonight I'm going to give you a little bit of Pilates mat foundation. This is sort of in the contemporary Pilates world, but I'm really big on form. I've been teaching Pilates since 2002, and I've owned a studio since 2006. I've taught for many, many years. I've even been running a program out at College of the Redwoods and teaching the Pilates classes there since 2004. So I've seen a lot of bodies, I've seen a lot of different people move. And the one thing I've come to understand about this more than anything is that no two bodies are designed the same, no two bodies move the same, and no two bodies will feel this the same. So just an example, I am right now sitting on my knees. This isn't a comfortable position for everyone, but I have long arms. So for me to be able to lengthen my arms all the way down at my sides, I actually have to be up on my knees. If I was to come to a cross-legged position, my shoulders are actually now activating up into the trapezius muscles and pulling up into my ears and activating into my back in an uncomfortable way. So I would have to actually reach my arms out here. So form, knowing your own body type is really important. When we watch somebody else's body move, especially on a video, we want to look like their body. So I invite you to just take the time to pay attention to how this feels. So we're going to start just with the basic breathing. You can breathe in your nose, out your nose, or in your nose and out of your mouth. That is really up to you. I'm going to place my hands on the lower part of my rib cage. Not breathing up into the chest, but allowing the breath to come down and out like a balloon. Using the diaphragm, and then on the exhale, allowing the air to seep out. And exhale, air seeps out. Let's go ahead and just take it into some shoulder stabilization. In a seated position, I'm going to reach my arms out in front of me, imagining that there's spring coils coming out from the floor, and I'm applying a little bit of resistance downward. I then want to imagine that I can slide my arms along this flat surface, like a countertop, reaching my arms away from me, and pulling back. Then I want to find somewhere in between. If I bring my arms up towards the ceiling, I can elevate the shoulders using my trapezius muscles, or I could stabilize by pulling down into the serratus muscles, into the pecs and into the lats. Arms are going to come down to my sides. I'm going to turn to my side into what we call hook seated position. Back to those spring coil arms from the side view. Forward, back, finding center. Arms up and down, finding center. One vertebrae at a time. Pulling my pubic bone towards my chest, I'm going to roll down to my mat and adjust my feet along the way. Once I'm here, I can reestablish that foundation move of the shoulders. Pulling forward and back and up and down. It would have looked like this before from seated, and up and down. Now ready to work on stabilizing the arms and the rib cage by bringing the arms all the way up and overhead as I breathe in, and on my exhale, circling the arms down and around to my sides. Changing the position to palms in now, arms overhead. Exhale, circle the arms around. I normally do 3 of these, but tonight I'm just going to do 2 in each direction. Inhale, circle. Exhale, reach up and down. I'm going to bring my feet closer to me now, and I'm going to take it into a hip roll. This is to help stabilize in the pelvis and to get movement in the spine. First, I'm going to bring the pubic bone towards the chest. I'm going to activate all of my abdominal muscles. I'll break those down in another class. Reaching up and out through the knees, finding my alignment from the ears, the shoulders, the ribs to the knees. On the exhale, rolling it back down, one vertebrae at a time. Breath in, stay. Exhale, activate the core. Pubic bone towards the chest, starting the roll, lifting up and out and away. I'm lifting away versus pressing with my feet. On the exhale, reconnecting the core, stabilizing the rib cage, rolling it all the way back down. On the breath in, I'm going to lengthen out the back of the neck. Curl the head and shoulders up. Allow the ribs to slide towards the hips, keeping a neutral pelvis, and rolling it back down. What's a neutral pelvis, you may ask? I'll break it down in another class. Lengthen out the back of the neck. Curling up, let the ribs slide towards the hips. And take it back down. One at a time, bring your legs to 90 degrees. And I say one at a time so that you can keep the stabilization of the pelvis. One at a time, bring them down toe to heel. Toe to heel. Lift heel to toe and up. Heel to toe and up. Down toe to heel. And down toe to heel. You should feel this here in your core. You might even feel it around through your back. I'll explain why in another class. From here, we're just going to allow the hips to release, the hip flexors, turning it out in parallel and sliding it back. Turn it out, lengthen, and slide it back. Other leg, turn it out, lengthen, slide it back, and turn it out, lengthen, slide it back. We're going to transition all the way to the belly. I'm going to lengthen the arm and the leg of the side I'm going to roll over to, and then transition to my belly. I'm going to make a W position with my arms. They're not all the way in. They're not too far apart. I can look over and see my thumbs. I'm going to reach through my legs. I'm going to squeeze my thighs together. Pubic bone pressing towards the floor. Shoulders are down from the ears. Forehead to the mat. I'm going to take a breath here, prepare. On the exhale, connect my core. And inhale, lift up and rise up away from the mat, out into the opposite wall. You can lift your arms if you like. Close the ribs, bring it back down. Lift your head. Rise up and down. Lift the chest away from the floor. Come to the hands and the knees. Try to get those knees directly underneath your hips and your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Rounding into a cat pose. This brings the head and the tail towards each other. Round the back and bring your hips back towards your heels. This should make the shape of a shell. There's a little spiral. Notice that I'm keeping the back round. It's not a child's pose. And then I'm going to go ahead and take it into a child's pose and rest.